This here is a USB stick. Oh my god, it's... You'll never know when optical media is gonna strike. I personally cannot touch any optical media, as it's all just garbage, slow, weak, fragile, read-only. But it does give me an idea. Yes, optical media. It's probably the worst media, where there is floppy disk, but floppy is actually rewritable and optical media isn't. Okay, well that's a different product. I'm talking about like DVD media, like, you know, that one. Anyways, you know PC games, right? They run on hard drives, SSDs, and I guess sometimes USB sticks. But that's not interesting. Like, wow, USB is slow. It took over an hour to transfer a 4GB game. USB bad. I was gonna talk about other media like USB 2, 3, this thing, but the only difference between this and a hard drive is the speed. It's just no fun. So again, how are we able to run games from this? Look at some PC games I have on disk here. For example, Bejeweled 2, 3, Twist, and all of these other games here. What happens with these games when they're ran off a DVD? They install to the system. Damn it! I guess we need to do a homebrew job of making DVD games that need no installation. So what OS should we use? Yes, this is actually a real question that we need answered. Windows, right? Almost all games support it, and you know, DVDs work on it. What else do you need? Well, we kind of need simlinks. What are simlinks? It's like shortcuts, but they're seamless to the OS, but the OS makes the simlinks. Okay, I don't really know how they work, but I know how to make them, so good enough. Anyways, a game may actually use saves in the main game folder, so if we use simlinks, we can make the saves go to the main drive and boom. We can save on a read-only media now. So for the first game I want to talk about here, it's Dusk. It looks like a pretty low-end game to me. The saves are actually located in the main folder, and it's a Linux native app, so we don't have to get into wine configs and stuff right now. Also, this game has no DRM, so no messing with Steam DRM either. Anyways, let's make an ISO from the Dusk folder. This is without any simlinks, no modifications, just an ISO. Also, this is mounted virtually, so the only thing between this and a DVD is speed. Where everything does seem to be working. You know, crazy chainsaw man, still working. Throwing stuff, working. Well, let's try to save. It seems like it tries, but of course, it doesn't work. What? What is happening? Why are we in like slow mode? Not like lagging, but just like slow? I thought maybe I pressed a slow motion button or something. So I tried to save again, and the same thing just happened. Again. Very, what would be a good word here? No, that's good enough. Simlinks, let's use them now. It's pretty simple to make a folder one. ln-s. Now put the endpoint for the symlink. For me it'll be home/gamesave/dusk. Home is the home folder, obviously. So no messing with what the user's name is or whatever, it just goes to the home folder. And finally for the last part, what to call the folder. So why do my symlinks look like this? It's because the folder they point to just don't exist. But it's pretty simple to make an install script that makes a folder. Again, we can keep using the same home trick. Pretty neat. Wow, crazy. I'll put the saves here. And yep, it looks like they're syncing to the home folder now. Let's make the ISO again. What? Why is there no symlinks here? Wouldn't the ISO follow the symlink because it just should? And yep, it doesn't save. What's the issue? So I didn't know this, but DVDs use a different format compared to something like ext4 and FAT. They use ISO 9660, which is similar to Unix and FAT, but this is just for like recording names and such. And the format is like really old. Old. The first Linux file system that obviously Linux used was ext. Yeah, not 4, not 3, not 2. And this was first introduced in 1992, while ISO 9660 was introduced 4 years earlier in 1988. This is the directory tree for ISO 9660. I do not understand anything about it. Let me ask ChatGPT. Anyways, we don't need to know how the ISOs work, we just need them to work, alright? Which means we need to know how they work. Damn it. Well, we don't need to use the ISO format, right? The image format, which is actually just a fancy name for a raw image. Oh, I get it. Anyways, I don't think you can use an image file for burning disks that are just not like a raw disk image. I was trying to make an ext4 image file, so it would support symlinks. I don't even know what I was doing. I was doing something that wasn't working, but I did learn something. So the size of a DVD is, not that size, is 4,707 megabytes. -R and +R? I have no idea what my disk is, so let's just say it's +R because it's a smaller one. How big is Dusk anyway? 4.7 gigs? Not that bad. Well, 10 megabytes over! Oh wait, that's just 10 megabytes, that's not even that bad. Well, what could we delete? Like a 2 megabyte image and like 5 kilobits of random text files that are probably important to the game? Well, the thing I did was delete the game. One of the games, as Dusk actually comes with Dusk World, which is like deathmatch. Well, it's less than 4.7 gigabytes now. Anyways, symlinks on DVD. I've got an idea. What if instead of using a different file format, Why not just try to give simlinks 2 ISOs? Is that even possible? I think so. So the ISO format, whatever it is, can have extensions. One of them is Rockridge, which adds POSIX. How do you even say that? It adds this file system, alright? Can you tell I'm reading from a Wikipedia article, by the way? Whatever this is like, I don't really know, but it has roots to like Unix again, and something, but it has support for simlinks, so that's wonderful, alright? We can use it. That means we can save, load. Okay, I actually can't think of anything else I can do. We're getting the real deal here. Yes, a real DVD. So the simlinks seem to be working. Well, let's try to play now. Just a little bit of lag here. Well, it's normal for a DVD to lag. Also, this game is not meant to be played on a DVD, so yeah, obviously it makes sense. The opening works. Cool. I feel like something's meant to happen here. After waiting 5 minutes, it disappears. But the disk drive is still making noise, so I'll just wait. And 2 minutes later, it loads. It's alive. So yeah, loading is slow, but again, that makes sense as, you know. But after loading, it's pretty stable. Like, yeah, there's some micro stutters, but not enough for the game to be not enjoyable. But the question is, that has hopefully been burning your mind, does saving work? What? It saves, but something is wrong with loading. If I'm gonna guess what happened, it's probably the game not liking simlinks, and I guess something, I don't know, I don't get this meter, okay? Let's talk about different games, alright? You know Nubby's Number Factory? It's a pretty fun game. It's pretty good. Pretty good on DVD too. As it just says, the data files and an exe. That seems pretty easy to run. But we're on Linux, so we can't just run the exe, because it's Linux. But we can use an emulator. Well, it's actually not an emulator, as Wine is not an emulator. So yes, Wine. What is Wine? It runs Windows apps, that's all we need to know. But how do we include Wine without putting an install in here? The normal way to install Wine is to obviously install it, but we need a portable version of it. How do I say this? Conti? Let's just call it Conti. It's a easy to use, compressed, unprivileged Linux container packed into a single executable that works on almost all Linux distros. That kinda means nothing for us. Or maybe not. A single executable dash download, or create and run. Nothing else is required, and it's a portable. You can put it anywhere, even on a USB stick. On a USB stick? Hopefully it works on a DVD then. So all we need to do is download the release of Conti. I'll use the Wine version because all we need is Wine. So to use it is /conti, Wine, and the exe we want to use. And obviously that would be Nubby. So all the stuff here is just Wine logs. Wow, look at that. We can play. Let's test it on a virtually mounted disk. Yep, it's Nubby's Number Factory. I don't just want a disk with Nubby on it though. Why don't we add some of the best games of all time, as they're pretty small. Peggle? Can't load a Steam DLL? So I want my disk to be portable. So yes, I could install Steam on my host here and say, look, it's running on a disk. But there are some Steam.dll files that, you know, pretend to be the official ones. Hey, it works, alright? So I added like 5 other games, Balatro, Zuma, Plants vs Zombies, Chuzzle, and of course Bejeweled Free. I made scripts for all of them, so they all use the same Conti binary. And without testing it, I just burnt it to a disk. Balatro is a tad slow on loading, but playing it just seems normal. It's like running on a hard drive. Well, the game is like less than 50 megabytes. That could be a reason why it's running pretty good. Why? So Chuzzle? No. Peggle? Oh, just a false alarm. Yep, it's Peggle. No Plants vs Zombies? Why are these games not working? Well, we do have Nubby's Number Factory, and Zuma. Turns out the way I was doing scripting is bad for compatibility. How I was doing it is running the exe above the game's directory. So if the game looks for a folder in its directory, it just can't find it. So after fixing it, it works, and works pretty well. These games all don't save in the main game folder, so no need for simlinks or whatever. So this disc was kinda a waste of a burn. Well, all of these discs were kinda waste of burns because I'm not gonna use any of them after this. Let's look at some more games. So I was gonna use Counter-Strike Source here as it's another Linux native game, but here's something. It's just a tad bigger than a DVD, like 100 megabytes. I thought there might be some wasted data here, but everything that was big was in a VPK file. So if I delete one, the game probably wouldn't, you know, work, but maps. That seems like something we should get rid of. There's 20 of them? Let's delete all of them except, no, get rid of Dust. But keep Dust too. Office and Nuke can stay. Instead of the maps taking up 230 megabytes, it's only 40 megabytes. Look at that, the game is now 4.6 gigabytes. Just enough for a DVD. Let's make it into an ISO and burn. So with that, Counter-Strike Source. So you need to open the game with a script here. Why is this the case? I don't know, probably Steam DRM issues. So, okay. Well, maybe it needs to load. Okay, well no, it actually freezes the whole system. I think the issue is because I'm using dual monitors. Why is this the case? I don't know, probably Linux and old software things, alright? Anyways, we can play the game now. Yep, we have 3 maps here. Let's do Nuke. After 2 minutes of loading, it tells me I have to be signed in for service to work. Maybe this game wasn't as portable as I thought it was. Maybe you don't need to own the game on Steam for it to work, because it lets you into game. But again, I don't really know. After opening Steam in the background, it just works. I was able to join a server, but then I realized I would need to install stuff, which is probably not good for a DVD. Wait, can it read and burn at the same time? Okay, that actually does make sense. I don't even know why I searched that up for. Making a server does seem to work. It was playable. Like, yeah, there was some stutters when a bot was making a voice call or something. Probably needs to fetch that sound file. I did inject the disk while playing to see what happens. Yeah, I guess there would be no maps. It couldn't open up some library. Then it crashes. I don't really know what I wanted to see happen. More games! Ultrakill! Why did I pick this game? I don't know. If I was gonna make a reason for it now, it's probably because the game looks like a PS2 game. Like the console that uses DVDs. So Ultrakill is a Windows game again, so we have to use Conti. And just to test it now, I'm gonna try it on a virtual disk. Huh, that's cool. It's not loading, and it's not because it's on a slow DVD. There's kind of nothing to do except look at it. Maybe we should get a log file. So with some wine bottle trickery, whatever I was doing, we got some logs for wine. Maybe I'm reading this wrong, but like, it's trying to write something. But again, I might be wrong. I have literally no idea what I'm looking at. What? Huh? Huh? Multi-game disc, let's do them again, because they seem to be working. I picked like 2 games here because they were small, then they can all fit on one disc. Super Meat Boy and Terraria. They both have Linux native support. I was going to do more games, but they had some weird dependency issues, so yeah, just these 2 games today. Anyways, without any testings, let's do it on a DVD. Launching up Super Meat Boy? Except for terrible loading times. Oh, well, we actually haven't talked about DVD speeds yet. So I'm using a 6x speed DVD. That probably means nothing to you. I'm thinking the same thing as well. But the 6x means 8 megabytes per second. Not really that good, but here's the thing that shows how slow a DVD can be. You know, it's kinda obvious if you look at it. It's physical, it needs to move around, which adds a lot of lagging. Also, these games weren't made for DVD, so they weren't optimized for it. I'm probably really bad at explaining this. Just think of a piece of data that's on the program that is here, alright? Another piece of data is here. It needs to move there. Then it needs to go here. Then it needs to go here. Now, think about this like 100 times per second. Not good for speed. Anyway, Super Meat Boy. Yeah, it's slow. What am I meant to note on this? I guess it is cool that it works. Terraria. It takes over 5 minutes for just black. And, oh, just for a sunflower to load. It finally loads to the main menu. And there are some big stutters. But that's fine, we can still make a character and a world. Every time a piece of grass is destroyed, there's a chance of a stutter. This is probably caused because of sounds, but subsides because, you know, the sound's being cached. What do I say now? It works, and works just fine. Stutters, and that's it, alright? Let's do one more game. Why? I don't know. So, let's do Far Cry 2. I'm using the GOG version, so it's easier to install, as we don't even need to use a Steam DLL or whatever. But it is still a Windows game, so we need to use Conti. Everything kinda just worked. Like, the game was made for DVD or something. Yeah, the loading times were slow, but not terrible compared to other games that were smaller. Is there anything to take away from playing games on DVD? I don't even know. I guess it's cool playing Bejeweled on optical media. Wait, optical media? No! Don't ever touch me! It's gross, weak, slow, fat, disgusting, ugly.